Hello and a very warm welcome. My name is David Roth from WPP, and it's a pleasure to have you watching our 11/11 Global Shopping Festival broadcast live from our studios here in London. Now, this is the second day of our broadcast. We started yesterday, and in today's broadcast we are going to cover a wide variety of subjects. We are going to go from innovation, looking at how innovation these days is very much coming from the East and going to the West. We're going to look at brand love and how you can measure the love that consumers have for your brands. And we're going to do a deep dive looking at the best loved brands in China. And we're also going to be looking at the segments in China that are growing fast in terms of where the opportunities lie, everything from pet food right the way through to the luxury sector. Well, this broadcast is being done in conjunction with Alibaba, and we have a number of participants from Alibaba today, as indeed those of you who watched would have seen yesterday our keynote interview with David Lloyd, who is the General Manager for the UK, Nordics, Ireland, and a number of other countries within Europe. I thought it might be good just to reflect, as you do, after we finished yesterday's broadcast, on some of the key themes that really did cut across pretty much everybody's conversations and presentations yesterday. I think, to me, there were a number of themes that were very much recurring. The first was just the speed within which things are moving and changing, both from a technological perspective, but equally in terms of the way in which consumers are changing their behaviours and changing their attitudes at a rate that we probably haven't seen before. The second was just how innovative both the brands are being in terms of their communication over the 11/11 period, but also the innovative developments on the platforms which are going to enable, and we are beginning to see some of those, and hopefully over the next few days we'll be showing you some examples of some of the innovations on the platforms that many of the different brands have been undertaking. But the innovation around that really this year has increased significantly as well. And then I think it's the whole notion of just the opportunity. Clearly, a lot of people yesterday discussed the growth rates in terms of consumer spending within the Chinese market over the course of the last year, but also Gordon Law in particular talking about looking forward that China is going to consume most of the growth across the world for the next few years. So clearly there is huge amounts of opportunity within the China market, not just for Chinese brands, but as David Lloyd talked to us about yesterday, the opportunity for small and medium-sized brands in the context of clearly this massive, great, big, large shopping festival, but have those brands also have the opportunity to make a big impact using the infrastructure that has been created. Well, I'm sure we're going to have some additions to those themes and some new themes that will come out of today. I think especially in the context of artificial intelligence, AI, machine learning. And we've got a segment specifically on that. Some of the things that were mentioned yesterday are only possible now through the use of artificial intelligence in one way or the other. And Daniel will be with us a little bit later on today to explain what that really does mean for us today, but importantly, what that's going to mean for the future. Now, as I said yesterday, every morning we'll be going live to China, to one of our WPP companies to get their views and perspectives. Today's going to be slightly different. We are, of course, going live to China in a few minutes' time, but this time we're going to go to Vitabiotics. And for those people who were with us yesterday, you'll know that Vitabiotics is a British brand. It's participated in 11/11 for a few years, and every day we are going to track the progress that Vitabiotics has been making in China on a day-by-day basis to get some feeling and understanding about how 11/11 is going for them. So it gives me great pleasure to be able to introduce the general manager for Vitabiotics in China, and hopefully now we can go live to China to say hello. Wendy, are you with us?
Hi, Debbie.
Hi. It's fantastic to see you.
Wendy Du, or Wang Du, but we'll call you Wendy, the operation manager for Vitabiotics. Thank you very much indeed for joining us on our 11/11 global shopping broadcast. Wendy, first of all, a little bit of context and introduction. For how many years have you been involved in 11/11? Not just for Vitabiotics, but also for other brands over the years.
Yes, of course. I have been 5 years in FMCG industry, which is always highly involved in e-commerce. Since I've been working in Vitabiotics, and to really directly involve Tmall G11 as the industry peer. But as a consumer, it's has heavily involved for decades.
We'll talk a little bit about the consumer side in a minute, but from the professional side, what changes have you seen over the last few years in both the structure of 11/11 and also the way in which you have different types of tools and technology to be able to communicate to consumers across the various different platforms?
Yes. I think Double 11 has really have created a big difference to the consumers' habit among these years, because it's like completely shaped a new nationwide shopping habit. Like every Chinese customer will expect to do their collective purchasing in November, ever since the event become nationwide. And I also think the Taobao promotional activities is various among all the years, and including especially these years, live streaming has surging, and we all need to involve more into that channel.
Now, talk us a little bit about live streaming. What's been your experience with Vitabiotics in live streaming? When was the first time that you live streamed?
We launched our first live stream last year, Double 11, with the RMB store on a top Kuaishou live stream called Yuda. And ever since then, we consistently have done tens of live streams each month on both stores. And for our healthcare store, nearly 60% of the sales came from live stream channel. And yes.
Now tell us all a little bit about the process of live streaming. What were the lessons that you learned after your first live stream?
I think live stream is a good way to generate large sales result in short time. Sometimes maybe one live streaming can achieve half of our monthly GMV target. Yeah, that's very powerful. But live streamer will argue the price with you heavily. And I think as brand side, we need to really set up the bottom line seriously before to negotiate with them. And that's it's a valuable lesson we have learned all the way.
So maybe if you can help explain to our audience the in a sense the economics that go behind the live stream. So a live streamer who is very well known, who has a large following, maybe
Yes.
Millions of followers, will charge a fee and also maybe a percentage of the sales that are generated
Yes.
from that live stream.
Exactly. Like top live streamer will also charge our huge fixed service fee, and also they will charge our 20 to 30% commission on the GMV. Then they deliver. Yeah.
So clearly there's some tough negotiations that have to go on with the live streamer in order to make sure that the whole process from a brand perspective, and clearly in this instance from a Vitabiotics perspective, is a viable economic proposition. Let's move on a little bit to your planning for 11/11 over the years, and I suppose in particular for 2021. When did you start the planning process for this year's Global Shopping Festival?
I mean, because of the global logistic issue, so I think we have prepared it like by end of last year even, because we need to deliver the goods and warehouse in advance for preparation. But for the sales strategy, I think we have started by August. By August, we need to submit for the price structure, and we also need to sign up for certain activity resources.
It strikes me from the conversations that we had yesterday that planning the preparation for 11/11 is very much a team sport. It's not something that can be done by just one individual or one department within the brand and the manufacturer. From a Vitabiotics perspective, can you give us a feeling of the team that you have to involve in order to make sure that your both preparations and executions for 11/11 are as impactful as you want them to be?
Of course, I'm very glad to introduce our team on the ground view, then how we involve this activity. And behind me, this is our whole EC department, and including our store manager, Tony, and our e-commerce assistant, Taitu, and our EC designer, Eric. And also there are our CRM manager, Pablo, and also the left of the crews are like customer service. There's the team over 10 staff. The whole department need to jointly prepare for Double 11 event.
Well, hello and a very good afternoon to all of you. Thank you very much indeed also for you, joining us, and clearly for all the work that you've been doing over the course of the last few months. Perhaps, Wendy, you could just talk about a little bit about the types of skills that are required, maybe the responsibilities, the departments that are required in order to pull off a successful 11/11 campaign.
Okay. I think there are main 4-5 major roles and expertises to manage this Double 11 event together. One is for e-commerce operation skill, which is like store manager and operation assistant. They were responsible for liaising with the platform, like category managers and Alibaba side. So that's what they do. And the second role is the designers, who will prepare all the designing pages, the activity pages, and the pictures for the e-commerce store. And the three roles are the customer service, who is responsible for answering questions and deal with the after sales issues. And the second one is the CRM manager, who will responsible for the old consumer repurchase process. And the fifth is the logistic manager, which is also very important given the global and cross-border model is something more complicated than domestic logistic process.
Now, you talked about logistics. I mean, in a sense, what you've described is a very sort of holistic team of people clearly all working together with a single objective in mind. And I think what you've described, I think, is a really good example to everybody who's watching, to get us all to understand the component parts of making something as big and as complex as 1111 work for individual brands. Tell us just a little bit more about the logistical challenges that you face, particularly this year. Yesterday we heard from Gordon Orr about the global logistical issues that are impacting brands right across the world. But sometimes when you look at that as a helicopter perspective, you don't really understand what the impact that has for individual brands. So tell us a little bit about the specific issues around the logistics for 2021.
Okay. It's maybe some common issue that overseas brands may facing is the logistic issue, and for us sometimes we also facing the issue that because in Cainiao warehouse, which is the Alibaba appointed warehouse, will have a certain amount of space for one single store, and you are not allowed to transfer more goods into before you clear out all the stock. So sometimes we want to storage as much as possible for fully preparation, but you just can't sell at the same speed. So that's also a tricky problem. We need to carefully plan the supply chain, like how many transfer in the same shipment and how many can come later. This is one major issue for the operational side need to be really careful about.
Now, again, clearly the logistical issues, opportunities are critical in making sure that you have the stock at the right place, as you say, yes, feeding into the central warehouse from Alibaba, but also sufficient stock that's coming through the system over the few months before 1111 takes place. How difficult is it for you and your team to accurately forecast the sales volumes that you're likely to do, given the huge peaks that 1111 generates in sales?
Yes, actually in our practice, we have set up two separate warehouses to do this transfer. One is we call the Duoduo warehouse, is the overspilling warehouse that we storage the supplies in this warehouse, because this warehouse can allow you storage as much as possible because it's not directed to the store end. And another one is the Cainiao warehouse, is Xinyi warehouse, and this is sellable warehouse, which is bound to our store, and all our goods need to sell from that warehouse. So we actually set up a middle warehouse to do this supply chain control coordination.
Now, 1111 is clearly a great opportunity to communicate with not just existing customers, but also new customers. From a communications perspective, what are you doing at the moment in order to make sure that the Vitabiotics range reaches, from a communication perspective, the right people at the right time during the pre-sales and sales periods and shoulders, and then as we come towards the end of 1111 on the 11th of November itself?
Yes, I think we have done a very comprehensive channels in terms of content seeding to access with our audience. We have done like many Chinese social media platforms like Xiaohongshu, Weibo, we all have our official accounts, and we have posted all these activity policies on there. And also we have do plentiful KOC and KOL posts during the period, and also to give off the best promotional policy there. And meanwhile, we do really all the channels, literally all the in-channel promotional tools like 直通车, diamond banners, and etc. So because this is the most intensive period among all the years, so we basically doing whatever we can to acquire customers and new customers.
Now, during the duration of the festival, there are opportunities to course correct, to change communication. But obviously, in order to be able to know what to do, you need to be getting information as to what's happening. So what information are you getting this year that's helping you understand what's going on at the moment, or if not at the moment, within an hour and a half, so that you can then change, augment, refine your overall communication mix and overall communication strategy?
Yeah, actually, I think all our reactions is based on our sales results, because the WLN has two phases and two waves of promotion periods. So, well, basically, our second wave of promotional actions will all based on the result of first wave, as well as the communication waves. Sometimes we can learn from our competitors. We can check on what contents they have crafted during the first wave, and so we can react accordingly, especially on the price competition, especially on this price set.
And how regularly do you check what's going on, check the pricing, check the competitors' activity, what's happening in the marketplace, and how quickly can you respond to that in terms of making adjustments in the communication itself?
For our operational team, they have checked this every day on daily basis. But if we alter this price, we can't always change the prices, because you have submission links for activities, so you are not allowed to do so. So we can only respond after that activity. So maybe just one wave, one adjustment.
Now, for this year, we've heard that innovation is a big theme. What innovations are you introducing, both from a strategic, maybe product, and also logistics and communication innovations for your campaign for 2021?
Innovation. I think this year's biggest innovation of communication also is transfer the inside aspect into offsite aspect into inside. Like mailing contents can be posted directly within Tmoji platform. They have opened lots of content channel in Tmoji, like Guang Guang, and like also live streaming, and also like short videos. And so we can just directly post these contents in the system, in the app. So it can shorten the links to customers to the follow purchase link.
Well, let's now move to the other side of what we talked about right at the very beginning, which was 11/11 from a personal perspective, Wendy. What have you been seeing from not just your competitors, but other brands in lots of other different categories over the course of the last few days? What's caught your eye, and what's made you think, wow, that's actually quite interesting or quite different for this year?
what really interesting. Um, Again, I think this year Timoji have leave this stage to live streamers, like really top live streamers. They have leave the center stage to them.
So Wendy, help everybody understand a little bit more about that. How often do you watch live streaming?
Every day, I would say till today, maybe 8% of my orders came from the live streamers I followed.
And again, just help us out, because I know for many people the whole concept of live streaming is something that they're new and they're just grappling with. When you're listening to maybe one of the key opinion leaders who you follow, and they put something on the screen, they talk about it, and you decide to buy, I'm very interested as to whether that product maybe was already on your consideration list, or whether you saw it, were attracted to it, and just bought it on impulse because of what you saw and heard, and maybe from other people on the live stream in the chat, convinced you that that was a great product that you should push the button and buy.
Yes, I think most of them, as just like you said, just impulse purchase, because you just saw the products and recommended by them, and you found it's useful, or most of them are just necessary of life, so you will buy them without hesitation. I just show you some screenshots of these live streams, and that featured our products as well. And you can see you can see then this is also actually a top movie star, Liu Xuan, and he has became a live streaming nowadays. And also we have featured by many other live streamers as well, like at least one per day during Double 11 period. And this is our product vision is.
Wow.
And yes.
Wendy, what is it that you think, again from a customer perspective, as opposed to a practitioner for Vitabiotics, but what is it about that live streaming experience that you find compelling? Because you've told us that on many occasions you're watching a live stream and you're buying purely on impulse.
Yes.
So what is it that makes it so attractive and involving for you?
Okay. First of all, I like to clarify, because as an industry peer, that I understand live streamer, especially the top live streamer, will always ensure the best price for his or her fans, because
Right.
this is all the business models is like. They always will check out whether your offer is the whole internet minimum price.
So Wendy, just clarify this. So in a sense, one of the benefits for you to follow
Yes.
A top live streamer is your belief, understanding that the prices that you will get on that live stream will be the best prices that you can get anywhere, because that live streamer has managed to has the capacity to negotiate the best deals and best prices with the vendor.
Exactly. That's contractualized, so that's 100% confirmation.
And then from the other side of that sort of coin, in a sense, you also believe that the live streamer will be recommending products that are good, that are respectable, that are good quality as well. That goes hand in hand, does it, with getting a good price? That the products that the live streamer is talking about are good products.
Yes, they're all good products, because they have like 100 people staff team only do product selection. You can like Vitabiotics, we are a lot like every time will be choose to be unfeatured, because you need to pass their selection pool firstly. So once you can be featured, you are ensured by good quality, and you are ensured by good price.
Okay, that's amazingly helpful and phenomenally insightful to, I think, people who are watching, who are getting to understand slightly better almost every day. I think by the 11th ever, when we get a very comprehensive understanding of how live streaming works, because it's becoming such a very, very important part and component part of 1111. Well, before we leave you, Wang Du, I'd just like to find out a little bit about the items that you've put into your basket to buy for yourselves and your family from the pre-sales period to the sales period yesterday. What caught your eye? What did you put in there? And what are you really, really looking forward to being delivered over the course of the next few days?
Okay, I think, well, pretty much like everything from toilet paper to electric devices. So yeah, yes, it's pretty much like that. Things like foods, and alcohol and tea.
So that's your basket. Actually, Wendy, perhaps you could just put it full screen because I'm not certain we can all see it. Okay, a little bit to the left. Excellent.
Can you see that?
Yeah, we can just about see it. So that is your basket, is it? That's the products that you put in.
Yeah, that's my basket.
Excellent.
Yeah, and that's already bought because yesterday is the end of first wave, so have cleared the balance payment. And so pretty much like everything, and also not kidding you, I actually bought Vitabiotics Visionless.
So the best deal even for you for Vitabiotics is to buy it during 11/11. That's really well. In a minute we'll speak to Benji and we'll see whether he can get you a slightly better deal than that. One of the things that is very, very intriguing. In fact, yesterday we had the professor from the Hong Kong University talking about the psychology of shopping festivals in China. One of the things that was quite intriguing was this whole notion of being able to share your shopping baskets with friends. And I know one of the innovations that Alibaba has introduced for this year is a way where you've just shown us your phone, but if you were with a friend, you could both shake your phones together and each person's, you could see what was in each person's basket. What is the social aspect of the process you just talked about with your friends? Why is it that you're exchanging what's in your basket, and how important is that sort of whole sales period, discussing with friends, working out who's buying what, and how important is that process in the mix of you deciding what products you will eventually purchase?
Okay. Actually, I didn't even know the function you mentioned, like shake the silver and.
So we've taught you. At least the day hasn't been completely wasted for you, Wendy. We've taught you something, as well as you teaching us something.
Yeah, for sure. I will check on that. And yes, of course we do share our basket, and we'll check on what each other have bought for this Double 11. And I think it's human nature to share. To share that, isn't it? And also, your friends with your families, so that they can purchase too. And also, if they have bought something from at a very low price from some live streamers, then they will show off around you. That's right. So that's where we will share the purchases with each other.
Well, Wang Du, thank you very, very much indeed for joining us. It's been fascinating to hear not just the Vitabiotics story of making sure that you can go from strategy to implementation over the 11/11 period, but also to hear your personal 11/11 story and purchases. I know it's a phenomenally busy time for you and for your team, so we'll let you get on with planning, replanning, rephasing the plans that you have for the next part of 11/11. We hope that the sales thus far has done well, and we're going to talk with Benji in a few minutes to explore what's happened over the course of the first couple of days of 11/11. But Wangdu, Wendy, thank you very much indeed for joining us. It's been a pleasure and delight to talk to you.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you. My pleasure to participate.
Have a great evening in China. Thank you.
Likewise.
Well, I'm delighted now to be joined by Benji Lam again. Benji, good morning. You're not in China. I'm sure you'd love to be in China, but you're in Vitabiotics in the UK. Benji Lam is the Director for China and Asia for Vitabiotics. And for those of you who were listening yesterday, we heard from Benji to understand both the Vitabiotics story and also to talk a little bit about a project that we've been working on with a couple of other health brands in the context of China. More about that towards the end of the day when we play our recipe for the day that includes Vitabiotics products, Rude Health, and also Lodo. Benji, perhaps let's start. 2 days worth of trading so far. Clearly there was the pre-sales period where people could put your products in their shopping baskets and the sales period on the 1st. Are you a man this morning that's smiling or frowning?
I'm a man typically who smiles in my nature. And I think in China, it's quite important to be a man who typically smiles in the face of adversity. Yes, we are smiling. Because of the 2 periods and the longer pre-sale, we've had more opportunity to create multiple touch points. So in terms of the brand story and the consumer journey, we've given consumers more browsing time, and we've had more time to play in and off channel and within the social media ecosystem that Wendy alluded to, with different creatives and marketing messaging, the importance of store design. We've worked on 3D paneling this year. And as David Lloyd actually alluded to yesterday, that kind of brand story really matters. So across these multiple phases, as a heritage UK business, we've really been able to tap into that this year. And 11/11 for us is the culmination of a lot of work throughout the year. We are building brand equity throughout the year. It's just the cherry on top. It's really an indicator of how well you've done in terms of conveying your brand story across a year period.
Now, I'm an ex-retailer myself, so sales numbers are very important to me. I'm not certain you will necessarily want to divulge exactly the sales numbers, but I know you had a very good year last year, and it's often phenomenally difficult to annualize significant year-on-year sales increases off the back of a good sales period the previous year. But in terms of annualizing this first period of sales, obviously we've got this is a marathon and not a sprint in a sense, but we've got more days clear to go. But what are the sales numbers looking like year-on-year comparisons?
Yeah, year-on-year comparisons, we're looking at about 40% growth year-on-year thus far. The second wave will likely be bigger for us, so we could be putting in a larger percentage growth after the second wave. And then, of course, we've got the day of 11/11 itself, the shopping bonanza. Our overall trajectory this year is closer to 60-70% growth across wholesale and e-commerce. So we may well see that in 11/11 as well. And I really think that's testament to the brand equity we're building in terms of taking a UK premium heritage brand and localizing that brand in the right way that resonates with Chinese consumers. And we really care. Our kind of mantra is like, leave your ego at the door. So Wangdu, Wendy and the team are fantastic. And, often I feel like we have quite a bottom-up operation. We really listen to people on the ground and we act based on their advice. And I think that's the key to this YOY growth that we're seeing.
Well, a 40% year-on-year growth over a good growth of previous years a great achievement. And I think from what we are beginning to hear from our sources, Alibaba haven't published any data yet. 40-50% seems to be the top end of many brands. So I think that's a great result. We heard from Wang Du, and we saw her and her team. How important is having the right team in place across all the disciplines that are required to make 11/11 successful? I think especially, Benji, in a year where I would imagine normally you would be in China over this period of time. Clearly you can't get there.
It's a fantastic question. Integral. It's been an interesting experience not being able to be with the team. Anecdotally, for example, I met Wendy in a Starbucks in a shopping center in Chengdu.
All the best meetings in China happen in Starbucks.
All the best meetings happen in a Starbucks, right? And we didn't at that time even have an office. And I recall she said to me, "Oh, I'm not sure if I'm ready for this position. I'm not sure if my English and etc." And we delved in. I said, "No, I think you're ready. Let's do this and let's grow this." And I think next time I go back to China, I suspect we could be at 50 people. So one person in a Starbucks to 50 people in our own office. That's my gut feeling of the growth trajectory we're on as a brand in China. But that team is integral, and we work in a hybrid model really. So we have our in-house team, 10 to 15 people at the moment, and then we work with our trade partners and third parties, as we discussed yesterday. So they have their own in-house customer service, e-commerce teams. And then we work with our wholesale teams, who will also have kind of medical reps, business development managers. So across that spectrum, it's integral. Trust in China is everything. And as a brand, we always say we care about our consumers, and we really also care about our partners. As a health and wellness brand, it's integral, I think, to that philosophy. So yes, connecting the dots is everything to me. And I'm very humbled in terms of the breadth of talent that we've managed to find who care about our brand. It's a very humbling experience for me.
For someone who is the director of China and Asia for a large brand, with all the complexities that entails, and given the issues with being able to travel, which we've all had for the last 18 months or so, and it feels like the being able to get to China over the course of the next 5, 6, 7 months is still going to be very challenging, if not impossible. How do you manage a business like that completely remotely, and especially, as you say, going from one employee to, say, when you come back to 50 employees, it's not as if you've been treading water until times change. You've been actively growing the business. What has that taught you from a management perspective that we can all learn?
It's taught me from a management perspective that remote working is empowering and enabling and totally possible. We daily communications we will often run on Ding Talk or WeChat. So we use local business / personal apps for our communications. It's also taught me a lot about chain of command, I think. So the efficiency of having a really good ops manager, and Wendy is a really good ops manager, who reports straight into me, and it just creates the right chain of process in terms of then connecting the dots to other partners. Drawing in those service providers, drawing in those service partners, and the wholesale infrastructure that we've built as well. So it's incredibly important and empowering, I think.
Now, Wendy talked a little bit about the course corrections that can be made. Mm-hmm. Again, from your vantage point, what data feeds are you getting that's helping you make some of those key decisions?
So I'm getting reports on gross merchandise volume, net merchandise volume. I'm also getting reports.
Maybe for those people who might not be so familiar with those terms, can you just explain both of those for us?
Yeah, okay. So gross merchandise volume will be the total retail value that we have achieved, sales retail value achieved. Net merchandise volume will be that figure less refunds, typically. Purchases that don't complete. So they're the two very typical e-commerce metrics that we use in China to define the success of our e-commerce stores. So I'm looking at those feeds, and then I've got live feeds in terms of prices from live streamers. So I'm being updated in terms of what the negotiation is. Is that possible for our bottom line? Is that possible based on volumes we have in stock? Promotions we might be running? Is it a loss leader, for example? What's our bigger picture strategy for that particular SKU? So
and that's enabling you to overall manage the blended margin of the period.
Exactly. Yeah, a great phrase in terms of blended margin. Yes, so we'll have products where we're running a lot less, and products and lines where we've got a healthier margin.
Now, you talked a little bit about negotiating with the live streamer in terms of the price, and Wang Du explained very eloquently to us all about the economics of how that works. In fact, we've got a session with a professor to talk about the whole economics of live streaming. But finally, Benji, can you just help us out? Because you sort of implied, and I just want to make sure that we heard correctly, that even during this period, you're still negotiating with different live streamers about what they're going to do and the price that they are going to take the products for.
It's a combination. I'll just give you a quick top line overview of what we do. So we have our own live streamer who is going out every day for 10 hours a day, hosting our own Vitabiotics shopping channel. So we've obviously got a price structure there. And then we've got the insured live streams ahead. So we know they're going to happen, like Leah Baby, Wani, Jie Jie, Shuala, Sherry. So we've got contracts in place for those. But then also we're still pushing product out to streamers because slots become available. And, for example, we might take osteocare, see that we've got the volumes and we want to clear them at a lower price, and the negotiation carries on. And some of these live streamers, we will contract a minimum gross merchandise volume with them. So we'll say, given based X investment, you will contract this gross retail figure with us. If it's not achieved in the first stream, you will run that over repeat streams. So they're quite effective contractual relationships with live streamers. Others are a bit more ad hoc, based on product availability and pricing strategy.
Well, Benji, we're going to have to leave it there. We'll be talking to you again tomorrow. And for anybody who wants to understand more about the business aspects of live streaming, I think you've alluded to some really interesting things, Benji. You've enlightened us on some as well. We have, as I say, a session specifically on the business models of live streaming, which I recommend everybody watches, because I think we're all going to have to understand how it works, not just from a communication perspective, but also from an economic perspective, because it is going to be so significant. But for the moment, Benji Lam, Director of China and Asia for Vitabiotics, thank you very much for sharing the data, the information, the sales numbers, being very transparent with us. It's really, really appreciated. And also, thank you very much indeed for enabling us to talk directly to your team in China. But for today, Benji Lam, thanks very much. I look forward to catching up with you tomorrow.
Thank you very much. I wish you all a great day. Thank you. Take care.
And we will be back in 10 minutes' time. Look forward to seeing you when we'll be looking at how to succeed in China.